What did you hope for 2023 that did not come true? What mistakes did you make? What lessons did you learn? What do you hope for 2024? What do you truly want? How will you ensure that this year is different? How will you ensure that you get what you truly want? "2024 has 366 days. That's 8,784 hours. Let's say that a third of those hours goes to maintaining yourself, sleeping, and eating. You know what I mean? That leaves us with 5,856 hours. Let's pretend that those hours are poker chips. That means that you only have 5,856 chips to spend. So where will you spend your chips? For me, 2023 was a year of transition. I went from running a business to selling that business to starting a new business to that business failing 4 months later to eventually starting the African CEO podcast. Now, as many of you know, the African CEO is a platform aimed at inspiring entrepreneurs to build impactful businesses on the African continent. But before I tell you about the platform and what's to come in 2024, I want to go back and tell you about the mistakes I made in 2023 and the lessons that I learned from that. The first mistake that I made was not listening to my intuition. Let me explain. As soon as I sold my first business, I jumped into a second business without taking the time to truly reflect if this is what I wanted. I met someone who I thought could be a business partner who sold me this vision of how he wanted to serve and impact people, when in actual fact, he just wanted to make money. Now, every time I was around this person, I couldn't be myself. I was on edge. I felt like I needed to impress, and I couldn't fully voice how I was feeling. Intuitively, I knew that this person wasn't the right business partner, but I continued anyway. 4 months later, the business failed, and I was the one left to pick up the pieces and to pay for the failure. The second mistake was poor planning. Let me explain. I would have busy days and work long hours without much to show for it. I was having busy days, but not productive days. I was working hard, but not smart. This was due to poor planning and prioritizing the things that would truly move the needle towards my goals. Along with poor planning, there wasn't clear metrics in place that I could use to measure my progress. The third mistake was working in the business and not working on the business. Let me explain. When I started the African CEO, it was with very little resources and had to do everything. But doing everything without a clear plan is very dangerous. I found myself spending way too much time on operations and not enough time on the business development and driving in revenue. This led to my cash flow being affected. And as we know, without a positive cash flow, there is no business. These mistakes humbled me, but reflecting on them allowed me to become wiser so that hopefully I don't make the same mistakes again. So, how will I ensure that this year is different? Firstly, I would have to find my why or reasons for doing things. Knowing the reasons would keep me intrinsically motivated and help me persevere when times get tough. Secondly, I would have to find what it is that I want and prioritize those wants from most important to least important. Thirdly, I would have to find metrics in place to track my progress and have many targets along the way to ensure that I am on the right path. So how do I do this and decide where to spend my chips? After all, I only have 5,856 available, even less after this video. I want to introduce a framework. Think of a pyramid with 3 equal points as the base. The first point is what I would define as health. For me, health is the most important point on this pyramid. Without being healthy, nothing else would matter. Under health would be physical health, i.e. exercising, eating a clean diet, and maintaining my energy levels, and mental health, which would be becoming aware of and dealing with any mental blocks that I may have. The second point on the pyramid would be relationships. Relationships for me refers to my support system. After all, we become the 5 people who we hang out with the most. For this reason, I'm very selective about who I spend my time with. I want to ensure that my relationships are unconditional, they energize me, and they support me in whatever aspect I may be going through. The third point on the pyramid is spirituality. For me, this means connecting to a higher power on a daily basis. This could be praying, journaling, meditating, or just walking in nature. These 3 points represent the base of the pyramid. The pyramid itself is my mission, and my mission is the African CEO. Now, let's pause here. Why is this framework significant for me? It allows me to find out what's important to me, i.e., my priorities, which allows me to choose where to spend my chips. It also provides the foundation for my mission and allows me to build an impactful business. So how will I ensure that I am on the right path? Objective key results, i.e. OKRs. This is an example of an OKR template. In the first column, you have the objective, i.e. the short-term goal that you would want to achieve. The key results column includes the metric, i.e. unit of measurement, and the specific target you would like to achieve. The next column is the actions that you would take in order to achieve such target. And the last column is a time period in which you want to achieve the objective. I recommend reviewing this on a weekly basis and to not set OKRs that are longer than 3 months. By having these short-term targets, it increases your confidence in your ability and allows you to course correct if you stray off by a few degrees. Now, back to my mission, which, as I mentioned, was the African CEO. There are big things coming this year, bigger guests on the podcast, big collaborations with African brands, and our membership is launching in March. This is something that really excites me. There's going to be so much value on that membership, from educational content to peer-to-peer coaching, access to investors, access to other mentors, access to other entrepreneurs, access to in-person events. If I didn't already mention that, it's just going to be so big. I'm super excited about this. It's going to launch in March, and the intention is to really help you build impactful businesses on this continent. Now, if you made it this far, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you found any value from this content, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. And I promise to provide you with more value every week.